Hi, you guys. How's it going today? Welcome to Miss K's Library. Okay, well, this is a book that I looked up and ordered on Thrifty Books because I love this author and this illustrator. So I wanted to read this book called Roxaboxen. And it is so cool. It reminds me a lot of my childhood and the fun that we would have. I literally can picture doing this as a child and stuff like it. So I hope that you will enjoy it and maybe it'll bring back memories for you or inspire you to use your imagination and get out and play more. Such a cute story. Roxaboxen. Marian called it Roxaboxen. She always knew the name of everything. There, across the road, it looked like any rocky hill. Nothing but sand and rocks, some old wooden boxes, cactus and greasewood and thorny oxtilio. But it was a special place. The streets between Roxaboxen and the houses curved like a river, so Marian named it the River Road. After that, you had to ford a river to reach Roxaboxen. Of course, all of Marian's sisters came. Anna May and Frances and little Jean, Charles from next door, even though he was 12. Oh, and Eleanor, naturally, and Jamie with his brother Paul. Later on, there were others, but these were the first. Well, not really the first. Roxaboxen had always been there and must have belonged to others long before. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see these pictures better. When Marian dug up a tin box filled with round black pebbles, everyone knew what it was. It was a buried treasure. Those pebbles were the money of Roxaboxen. You could still find others like them if you looked hard enough. So some days became treasure hunting days, with everybody trying to find that special kind. And then, on other days, you might just find one without even looking. A town of Roxaboxen began to grow, traced in lines of stone. Main Street first, edged with the widest ones, and then the houses. Charles made his of the biggest stones. After all, he was the oldest. At first, the houses were very plain, but soon they all began to add more rooms. The older wooden boxes could be shelves or tables or anything you wanted. You could find pieces of pottery for dishes. Round pieces were the best. Later on, there was a town hall. Marian was mayor, of course. That was just the way she was. Nobody minded. After a while, they added other streets. Frances moved to one of them and built herself a new house outlined in desert glass, bits of amber, amethyst, and sea green. A house of jewels. And because everybody had plenty of money, there was plenty of shops. Jean helped Anna May in the bakery. Pies and cakes and breads baked warm in the sun. There were 2 ice cream parlors. Was Paul's ice cream the best or Eleanor's? Everybody kept trying them both. In Roxaboxen, you could eat all the ice cream you want. Everybody had a car. All you needed was something round for a steering wheel. Of course, if you broke the speed limit, you had to go to jail. The jail had cactus on the floor to make it uncomfortable, and Jamie was the policeman. Anna May, quiet little Anna May, was always speeding. You'd think she'd like to go to jail. Ah, but if you had a horse, you could go as fast as the wind. There was no speed limit for horses. And you didn't have to stay on the road. All you needed for a horse was a stick and some kind of bridle, and you could gallop anywhere. Sometimes there were wars. Once there was a great war, boys against girls. Charles and Marian were the generals. The girls had Fort Irene, and there were all Girl Scouts. The boys made a fort at the other end of Roxaboxen, and they were all bandits. Oh, and the raids were fierce. Loud whooping and stamping of horses. The whirling swords of Octilio had sharp thorns, but when you reached your fort, you were safe. Roxaboxen had a cemetery, in case anyone died, but the only grave in it was the dead lizard. Each year when the cactus bloomed, they decorated the grave with flowers. Sometimes in the winter, when everybody was at school and the weather was bad, no one went to Roxaboxen at all, not for weeks and weeks. But it didn't matter. Roxaboxen was always waiting. Roxaboxen was always there. And spring came, and the oxtilio blossomed, and everybody sucked the honey from its flowers, and everybody built new rooms, and everyone decided to have jeweled windows. That summer, there were 3 new houses on the east slope and 2 new shops on Main Street. And so it went. The seasons changed and the years went by. Roxaboxen was always there. The years went by and the seasons changed until the last friends had all grown tall, and one by one they moved away to other houses, to other towns. So you might think that was the end of Roxaboxen, but oh no, because none of them ever forgot Roxaboxen. Not one of them ever forgot. Years later, Mariana's children listened to the stories of the place and fell asleep dreaming of Roxaboxen. Gray-haired Charles picked up a black pebble on the beach and stood holding it, remembering Roxaboxen. More than 50 years later, Frances went back, and Roxaboxen was still there. She could see the white stones bordering Main Street, and there, where she had built her house, the desert glass still glowed amethyst, amber, and sea green. The end. Here's a cool note from the author. It says, on a hill on the southeast corner of 2nd Avenue and 8th Street in Yuma, Arizona, there is a place once known as Roxaboxen. The events in this book really happened to Alice McLerran's mother. With the aid of her mother's childhood manuscript, the memories of relatives and letters and maps from the former inhabitants of Roxaboxen, Alice McLerran was able to recreate that magic world as if she had played there herself. She presents us with a celebration of the active imagination, of the ability of children to create, even with the most unpromising materials. A world of fantasy so real and multidimensional that it earns lasting place in our memory. Artist Barbara Cooney saw Roxaboxen as one of her toughest assignments yet, constructing a magical world out of something that wasn't there. She made 2 trips to the desert where she found a small tan hill dotted with stones and rocks, a scattering of desert plants, and now lots of broken glass and old car chassis. But accompanied by Alice McLerran, 80-year-old Aunt Frances and former Roxaboxenite, the magic and the spirit of Roxaboxen began to emerge, a magic found in the minds and the hearts of the children who played there. That's so cool. The end.